Hi everybody, welcome back to Chatter's DIY. Episode 5 today. It's going to be a quick video run through, quick tour of the project, and hope you enjoy. Right, so starting on the first floor landing, our main consideration for up here with the stairs was where the boxing in and where the stairs go. We didn't want to lose this window. This window is south facing, so it lets a lot of light into the room, and obviously we paid to have a bit of decorative floral work on the glass, so we didn't want to lose that. And actually eye level is around this height, so the other thing we wanted was for it to be out of sight. If it would have been all down here, it would have been quite in your face. But actually it turned out fantastic. The only one thing that we could say is that it's a little bit close to the light, so to combat that we're actually going to get what a spider pendant. So instead of just having one pendant on a short wire, there's going to be a few, and it branches out across the ceiling, and you put some sort of Edison bulb or something like that in it, make it look a bit more fancy. So that's what we're going to do to combat it. This is the Newel Post coming down from the winder, which is sort of goes up that way. The other way of boxing this in or plastering it would have been to have had a mesh work going across there and then twisting up. The only problem with that though is that it would have come up almost vertical along the Newel Post and would have had to have come around here at quite a sweep. And so the twist that it would have been extremely complicated. And even then, as the twist came up, it would have come here and there was a piece of stair stringer there, so it would have just still come to an angle anyway. So we just said, well, we might as well just box it in. This is the door there that we've kept in place. It's obviously got to be replaced yet for a fire door. These are still the original doors from when we moved in and when the house was built even. But this is the door now that separates the bedroom for the fire regulations from the rest of the house, so we don't have to have this the door at the top of the stairs. So now the entrance to the bedroom will be through here, and basically from here this will be the start of the loft, so to speak. The new stringer comes down. It's anchor bolted into the wall about 8 times. As you can see, it's quite a neat fit all the way around. I've had to do a little bit of gap filling along here where the wall's not quite square, but overall it's fitted really nice. I have to ignore a bit of rubbish I've still got to throw away. I've put a new channel in the wall for the light switch so that it operates the light upstairs and the light in the room. And then there's another one at the top of the stairs, obviously. This is where the plaster render meets the 9mm plasterboard. As you can see, that's a really neat fit. Down here it's not quite as perfect, but it's within the tolerance that the plasterer will be able to cover up. I have to fill in a air brick. That's about it for down here. Move on up. This is where the plasterboard on the main wall, the gable wall, meets the render. As you can see, that's perfectly flush. Obviously got a little bit of a gap to fill, but nothing major. This is where the wall used to run down to separate the bedroom, and this is the little bit of finishing I've done so that when the wall's plastered, there's going to be a balustrade base along here, and so in this void there's going to be a narrow or a thin piece of wood which is cut just to fill this gap up in this section here. made out of this, and then when it all gets glossed, all that'll get done as well. It'll marry up the floor and the wall with this little bit of trim. Newel Post. Still got to wait for the handrail to go on, but I didn't want to put that on until I'd got all the materials up here, and I'm going to wait till the plastering's been finished. Less mess. Again, the stringer and the winder fits really nicely. Once that plastering is done, all that gap will be filled up. As we turn around to look down the stairs, this is where the purlin runs. That's the for if you're not in the know, this is the big massive joist that runs from the gable wall all the way through and sits on the party wall, and the roof rafters. As they come down, they sit on that piece of wood and then run all the way down to the wall at the front of the house. They're supported by, or that purlin supported by one post that sits actually behind this wall. This little hollow then is where the drawers are going to come. So I've built the insides out, and that's just going to have the runners, and the runners are down here ready to go. And just build the drawers for it. There's enough room all the way around the bottom now for skirting, and this is the wardrobes. So the access panels are at the back, they're secured in. There's my gallows hanging rail support, and then there'll be two doors, one, two, about 400mm wide each one, and they'll be outward opening, but on the type of kitchen cupboard hinges that open much wider, so that they come all the way around. So when this becomes like a walkway almost to get round the bed, if the door's open, it's not going to be an issue. It can just be pushed right the way back out the way. The party wall, obviously it's got the chimney on it, so I'm trying to make a feature. This is what I was on about on my last video, when I said that I've had to cut the plasterboard around each brick, and in some places it's nice, like there, nice, neat, quite close to the brick, and then you come up and there's places like here where it's not so neatly cut. But I can't tell you how hard that was trying to line that up. And then down the inside of it, the camera actually distorts this a little bit, makes it look a lot narrower. Actually it's quite a wide angle, and there's going to be a dressing table going across there, and then here that's going to be like a triangular mirror with a light set behind it. Now for the back wall. So I'll just quickly show you. So we've got the roof, window and the view over the park and the back garden. Nice view when you're in the summer, when the window's going to be open like this. You stand back and it's lovely. Or with it closed when obviously it's covered in dust at the minute, so it's not so clear. Also on a night time, the bed's going to be right here underneath the window, so you're going to be able to look right up, and on a clear night, if we don't shut the blind, we should just be able to see straight up to the stars. And then underneath the bed there's a USB double socket there, and another one behind there, and then there's also the switch, that light switch, excuse my bumbling around,
That light switch is actually for this under the stairs storage. So it's absolutely packed. You can see the light there and the reflective multifoil insulation. If I come around this side, then you can actually see all the pipe work, the back of the ensuite. This light can be moved down there and hung up. And there's the rest of the pipe work, all going down into the airing cupboard, which is directly below. That pipe there is the extractor fan for the shower downstairs. Back out again. Make sure I turn that light off. As you can see, this is 4-inch thick door with the insulation. So we'll just shut that, and that's going to be all this wall here, all the way down is going to be clad in white wood. I'm going to try and make it so that each piece of cladding comes right across the door, and it makes it quite seamless. Then we've got the ensuite. Still got to fit the door, but again, waiting for the plastering and that. Toilets in, macerators at the back. Everything's a bit dusty, but it doesn't matter. Again, another centre pivot Facro window. We have to be careful when we're in the bathroom with a view like that, but fortunately it's at the right height so that it won't be showing anything off. Just here in this packaging, in its more or less its final position, there's the pipes at the bottom for this radiator, towel radiator, and then the shower trap is here, and just where my foot is there you can see a black line that comes round, and that's kind of outlining where the shower tray is going to be. I have been looking for that for days. It's amazing how things go bloody missing. Noise, absolutely annoys the crap out of me. Anyway, so the shower. So there's the pipe for the cold water inlet. There's the electric cable. It's obviously switched off at the moment. Down at the consumer unit. This is all going to be tiled on the inside. Come all the way around. So there'll be a little shelf for the inside of the toilet shower, and then this along here is where the rest of the enclosure comes, and obviously the power cord here for the shower, which will be on the outside. Not a small space actually for what it is. We never intended to have lots of just open space in here, so everything's kind of compact, but at the same time not too small, if you know what I mean. So we've got the radiator here, we've got the access there, we've got the bed, another access. Might be a bit of shelving up here or something. I haven't quite decided yet. I'm just going to wait and see how it all looks. Obviously I've already said the dressing table and the mirror, so there'll be a stool under there. There's the electric point for the hairdryer and whatever for Kirsty. One of the things that I am really looking forward to is what I'm going to do with the lights. So if you can see, I've marked where the battens are, but obviously once it's plastered you ain't going to be able to see that. So I've made a note of the distance from that wall, which isn't going to be plastered, and then that tells me exactly where the light points are, exactly where all the battens are in the ceiling. and there's going to be another piece of wood that matches that cladding, matches these doors, matches the drawers, and it's going to come all down here, and it's going to have a 2-inch thick batten that it's attached to at every point that I've marked. And then there's going to be an LED light that runs all the way around those little battens that it sits on, and then when you put the panel on, it's going to cover the LED lights completely. But the other thing is as well, between that one and that one, in there's an electric socket, and there's going to be an Alexa, and the LED light is actually Alexa compatible. So instead of just having these spotlights, or what will be spotlights on, you can just come into the room and say, Alexa, put the light on, and it'll come on, and it'll come on in a range of colours as well. So you could say, put the light on in blue, put the lights on in pink, or whatever. Not that I expect to be using that function very often, but it came with the lights. So yeah, that's about it, I think. That's the cable for the fire alarm, and that'll mean that we've got the same fire alarm then on each floor, and they'll all be interlinked, meaning that we comply with the regulations, so that if there's a fire on the ground floor, we get notified via the fire alarm in here, and we all get to evacuate nice and safely within a reasonable time frame. Same on the first floor or up here, everybody gets, the alarms go off on every landing. So one thing I did want to retouch on was the budget, and again I'll just remind you of how far we've come. Consider that, you know, it's only plastering and decorating really left, and even the budget even includes all the furniture pretty much, or the materials for building the furniture, and I'm still on course to get it done for about 10 grand. Now consider that 10 grand as a DIY project, if you got quotes for this, you're looking at anything from 25 to 38. I think I've seen similar jobs. So I mean, that's just 15 and 28 grand's worth of saving straight off the bat. It's unbelievable, and that's 10 grand, that includes the ensuite and everything as well. You know, some of the other ones that I've seen done cheaper on YouTube, I don't think that they were as good as standard. It wasn't as big a space. The stairs weren't so complicated. He hasn't done as much insulation. There's no ensuite, and the stairs come right up the middle of the room, creating two odd little narrow spaces either side, which isn't as useful as what I've managed to achieve here. So I think in comparison, this is, so far, touch wood, it's worked out really, really well. As for progress, it has halted. Unfortunately, as you'll probably tell from the haircut, I've got a corona cut, and the COVID-19 restrictions have stopped play. My plasterer got ill on the day that it was meant to get done, so I've checked on him. He's okay, and he's just waiting for the restrictions to be lifted, and we'll get this finished off. I'll try to do some of the filming of him, as long as Adam doesn't mind. I'll get some of the footage of him doing that, and then we'll get moving on with further episodes. But as for this one, number 5, we're done. Again, if you enjoyed it, subscribe, and I hope to see you in episode 6. Stay safe. Chatters DIY out.